Welcome to the newest episode of the American Fitbaw Cast. I'm joined by
Gavin.
And
Nobody else.
oh, where's Andrew?
He's having a baby.
I knew you were going to say that. Yes. No, his missus is having a baby. Had a baby.
Yeah.
I got it wrong as well. Never mind. Yes, we are.
We're in the hangar.
We're in the hangar. Oh yeah, the background. Well, I might be able to cut that out in post production. They may not hear it.
So this is irrelevant.
Yeah, possibly. Like about half the stuff we talk about. You will be hearing from Andrew later on. He has phoned in his predictions for the games coming up, and did a bit of recap of how we're all sitting. Do you think you're winning again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that in the chat? Have I missed it?
Yeah.
Right. I'm probably still losing again.
It's 9, 5 and 5.
Oh, I'm equal bottom. Excellent. Yeah. I'll take that.
You were second.
Oh, so I've fallen. Oops. Oh dear. So much for watching it for 10 years and pretending to know what's going on, eh? That's like fantasy, eh? 1 and 5.
I'm not much better.
Absolutely disgusting.
It's not ideal, Steve.
Never mind. No, it's not. Whatever. Right, so big news of the week. Your Redskins finally got fed up with the Jay Gruden show and canned them about 3 hours after game time or something. It was like, what, 1 in the morning our time or something?
Just sort of broke very randomly because it was said last week that his job wasn't being reviewed. Mm-hmm. And then I think the 2 performances against the Giants and the Patriots, they've seen enough to say this isn't going forward.
Yes.
He's not going to be the guy to take us, we already spoke previously, had excuses around about the Alex Smith injury, and even under Smith, the Redskins weren't firing. No. They were more just...
They were serviceable, though.
Conservative, I would say we were. We tried to play tough football. We tried to play just, grind the game out, which I'm not sure is Gruden's style more. So the Redskins' backroom staff, I think, are different to Gruden. So on the defence, we've got Jim Tomsula, Rex Ryan, Greg Minuski, who are all very old school minds. And then I thought about in the offense as well. Bill Callahan is the offensive line coach who coached up the Cowboys to start with. Yes. Old school style, be strong in the run. So the rest of the coaching staff didn't really fit Gruden, if that makes sense. Even so, he probably had a say in who comes in.
Yeah. I think they all fit each other quite well. I think actually
kind
might
of
be a slight rebound back to
there's a bit of toughness
a more
about a
focused old school kind of game to help Haskins or Cole.
Well, Bill Callahan's said that Haskins will not play.
Oh, right, okay.
So
right. Wow.
So
fair enough.
He is very old
Red
school.
Shirt, the rookie.
Yes, he is very old school in the sense of you earn your stripes sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which isn't the worst thing to do considering how bad our team is.
Look at Pat Mahomes. He sat his rookie year. Look what the hell happened after that. That's all you can. If you get anywhere, if you get 75% of that, you'll take it.
100%. So we'll wait and see. But I think there's going to be a change. I think it will be stick with the run, play tough defense. I think we might actually see 1 or 2 players traded away as well. I think we might go. You know what? This is going to have to be a rebound job.
None of your big blue chip players. Obviously, Trent Williams doesn't come back. That's an interesting.
I think
one.
we might. So we apparently rejected a first round offer for him previously.
Someone comes in with that now. You probably just
take a second round.
He seems to be quite happy just to be.
He's not coming back.
I don't care.
He's not coming back.
He's got enough money in the bank.
So maybe someone like the Rams, who are a little bit struggling on the offensive line, might realise that they need to do something.
Texans come in and throw away even more picks.
Yeah, I don't even know if they have any more picks, but someone
just give the rest of your draft capital.
May as well.
Third and over in all your rounds.
So someone that's a contender might make a move for him, but I also think you might see a Jordan Reed or a Josh Norman for low picks, like 6th or 7th rounders, just.
If you get value out of them, I mean,
Reed's, it's more the salary cap. They're both expensive players.
Has Reed not been in concussion protocol yet again this
forever?
Season?
May as well just stay.
He was about 5 or 6 at least.
Probably should retire, right? There's probably at some point where you should say you are not fit to play this game anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and see. But it's definitely a big rebound job. There's, I think I said to you, 2 names that I wouldn't mind. I don't know how it works in terms of in season, but. If we could get Eric Benemini from the Chiefs, who is their OC, obviously worked wonders with Pat Mahomes.
Yep.
Maybe can do something similar with Haskins. Mahomes isn't much of a runner.
No.
When you watch it, it's all about his arm talent. That's what Haskins is, his arm talent. He's not a mobile quarterback per se. So maybe someone like that can work with him. And if we decide to go defensively, I think Jim Schwartz from the Eagles would be an excellent pickup. He was a head coach before with
Lions.
the Lions,
I think he was okay. He had a bit of a rough deal, but I mean, I'm trying to remember back.
I think they were very much
that was the days
500.
of Dominican Sue stamping on players, and he was in charge of them at that point. So he got a lot of heat because of his players on the field, not so much him. And about like ill-disciplined, I think was the general perception. But you know, you don't have a suit; it's a different.
Yeah, that's just him, right? Trying to answer him is a difficult task for anybody. Even in Dominican Sue, trying to answer for Dominican Sue will be difficult. But yeah, those are the two names that I would like to see if there's a candidate comes out.
Yeah. I don't think you can get.
I don't think you can.
You can trade for coaches. Obviously, Tampa Bay traded for Gruden from the Raiders back in 2002-ish range, whenever it was.
I don't think it's a done thing though, is it?
Nah, they'll probably just sit until Black Monday and sort it all out.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
That would be
whenever, or as far as the Chiefs go in the playoffs if it's behind me.
Yeah, Benemini. So
Whatever.
that's the two names that I would like to see if they come available.
It's a good shout. So yeah, I was surprised it was Gruden first. I mean, if of all the teams coming into the season, we thought the teams that wouldn't do great. I didn't have the Redskins. I thought they might have been middle of the road.
Yeah,
but
that's
not,
my expectation.
Another 7-9 season was kind of the that's the fact they've gone 0-5. No, and I thought what was really interesting was pulling the trigger on the Sunday on a short week. Oh no, not on a short week. Sorry, no,
the
it's
Dolphins
not
this week.
Giants.
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah. So you've got the Tank Bowl. More on that coming up later when talk about predictions, because no surprises, we picked that one. Right, on our recap of games from last week then. So, I thought I would go with the Browns at 49ers when I seen that result on Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
31-3 the 49ers. They are still unbeaten. They're 4-0.
5-0.
No, 4. They had the bye week.
Oh, they had the bye week.
Yeah, that's the only reason not. So it's only them and the Patriots that are unbeaten.
That's
really
crazy.
surprised. Oh, would not have called that. I think the last time they were 4-0 was something like 1991. So we're looking like 27 years ago or something. It's a long while. Doing far better than I gave them any credit for. I thought that division was absolutely the Rams, no questions asked, and everyone was kind of like piling on scraps for maybe an outside chance of wild card. They're sitting 4-0 now. Have they been lucky with opponents, or do you think they're actually pretty legit?
Still,
It's a tricky one, isn't it?
dude, that one's convincing, right? But it's still not a super strong team.
No.
So
I think it's the way they play, because this is the stuff when I started looking at this earlier that I thought they play any team this way and all teams are going to struggle against them. They outpaced the Browns 446 to 120 yards. Yeah. That's nearly 4-1. Of which 275 yards of them are on the ground.
Yeah.
They out-timed them then 38 minutes to 22.
Gas the defence out.
Absolutely wrecked the defence. The number of plays was something mental, like 49 offensive plays for the Niners, for the Browns, versus 670 or something like that.
Wow.
It was like 30 plays difference in the favour. It was massive, so huge amount of time the defence are on the field. Breida got 11 carries, 114 yards and a touchdown, albeit there was an 83-yarder in there, which was pretty cool to see that. Just the way that Kyle Juszczyk busted open a hole in, because he's basically a 6 offensive lineman almost the way he plays, albeit annoyingly he lost him to injury and he's out 4 to 6 weeks, which is maybe a bit of a problem for them. Coleman got 97 yards on only 16 carries as well. Mostert chucked in another 34 yards. So they're really all about the ground game.
Yep.
Jimmy G had a really respectable stat line. Very, very sensible, toned down. It was 20 for 29, 181 yards, 2 touchdowns, but no interceptions, more importantly.
Yep.
Kittle's obviously his favourite target, 70 yards and a touchdown. But it's that defence as well, the whole complementary football type of thing. The defence got another 4 sacks, Bosa got 2, they forced 3 turnovers, there was 2 interceptions and an actual forced fumble that they recovered as well. I think if you're +3 on a turnover basis, the guys were saying at the weekend, you've got something like in 85% chance of winning the game. That's what the stats tell you. And the fact they were playing this massive run game type, not what I would have expected from a Shanahan team, from when they signed him a few years ago and what they thought they were going to be.
I felt
they're playing totally. They're playing to the strengths of their roster, I think.
Yep.
Really, but it's working well for them.
Yeah, I felt that they were going to be a very Sean McVay-esque type team in the way they play, but they're very old school in the sense of its run and
smash mouth football.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Through the middle and cause some havoc.
It is, isn't it?
I think their O-line's probably really underrated. Then I'm guessing so far based on what they. Although you're playing your opponent, and is it another week that the Browns have just been typically the Browns?
So I guess we spoke a lot about the 49ers, but in terms of the Browns, are they another example? So last year we spoke about how the Rams sort of made the superstar thing work.
Yep. Yeah, the big splashy off-season. Win the off-season, you've got all the star players, and all of a sudden you're...
But history tells us very rarely does that work.
No.
You need a very specific core sort of ethos throughout the team. Did the Browns...
Patriot way.
Yeah.
The Colts, I think, are very symptomatic of that at the minute, because superstar-wise, they don't have that many. But they are causing some major havoc in the games they're playing. I mean, they beat the Chiefs at the weekend. It's amazing.
So I think maybe the Browns have tried to squeeze all the pieces in and got maybe a little bit too excited off a couple of wins at the end of the season.
End of last season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they changed the dynamic, right? So again, Greg Williams is not the best defensive coordinator in the league, by no means, right? But the chemistry that they had, maybe that's something that was a big part in why they were successful
at the end of last season.
Yeah.
So you're thinking not so much Kitchens, a little bit more Williams in that defense, and
it's the two pieces together. Yeah. So it's they've obviously changed, and it's Steve Wilkes as their DC, former Cards coach. Is that right? Am I saying
Wilkes was he was Cardinals. Cardinals last year.
So it's just. It doesn't feel right, and I'm not too sure what it is. Mayfield looks atrocious.
He's having a stinker. So this is what he did on Monday night. 8 for 22. 8 for 22. 8 completions for 100 yards. 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. Passer rating was 13.4. There was that amazing stat that I'd seen on. If he'd spiked the ball every snap, he would actually have a higher passer rating.
Oh my god, man.
If every time he stood up the line and spiked the ball, he would have done better than what he actually achieved. On the flip side, Chubb still got a 5.4 yard rushing average, so they still leaned on him quite well against a really good front. So that's quite a good positive for the Browns. I bet I nearly said the Niners there. And that's what worked for them last week when they trounced the Ravens, something chronic, and it was all about leaning on Chubb in the run game, which helped Mayfield. I think the difference this week seems to be Mayfield regressed too much. He went back into just complete nonsense shotgun and throwing all over the field, not doing anything of any use whatsoever, which kind of then means that you can play the run better and you don't have to worry about it, because if you just trust Mayfield to beat you through the air and he's having a bad week, doesn't matter, does it? Garrett got another sack, so up to 7 for the season, so he's doing okay. Jamie G, his punting average was 56. He had the longest of 71 yards.
Wow.
He had a 71-yard punt.
That's huge.
Did you know he was the AFC Special Teams Player last month?
No, I did not.
No? Yeah.
Sweet.
So he's got it. His first month in the league.
Good on him.
So, we have already mentioned, but for those of you that are newer to us, we did get to interview him in the off-season. I think it's about episode 38, 39?
We spoke to him previously.
Yeah. So you can go and check that one out. So there's a couple of wee bright spots for the Browns, but unfortunately I think there's two. This is maybe a bit too much of a broad statement. I think there's too many problems in the offense. I think Mayfield and the superstar wide receiver pack.
How do you keep them all happy? That's what we said. We said that earlier.
Yeah. Something's not quite ticking the way
OBJ is not going to be happy if he's not getting targets and he's not the superstar and he's not because even as bad as the Giants were,
Andrew's doing better than him. Stats wise. OBJ's kind of missing at a point. I think he only got 2 completions this weekend or something.
So you wonder, his thing at the Giants was a lot about him. It's not about him, and the Browns are struggling. Will he stick around? Who knows?
Who knows?
I don't think he's the type of character to accept mediocrity or below.
No.
So we'll see.
So yeah, 49ers, and that's them wrapped up.
So that takes us to LA. Nearly said San Diego.
Hey, you would have joined my old school club of where they used to be.
Yeah, so the Chargers were playing the Broncos, and which looked like on paper a sure thing Chargers win against an 0-4 Broncos. The Broncos left 20-10 winners. And yeah, this game, a couple of things really stood out to me. First of all, on a Chargers point of view, I think their offense is struggling. We were speaking off here about, did they undervalue how important Melvin Gordon is to their offense? As good as Eckler has been, their performances, they're 2-3. Could Gordon have changed that the other way about? Could it be 3-2?
I think it would have been at least 3-2. Possibly even a pushing a 4-1.
Yeah.
If you get him in a full off season and he hits the ground running like what he did last year.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
Absolutely.
It's a game changer. They're missing Tyrell Williams, who was their deep threat to keep the defense honest, as they say. So, coverage is harder for Keenan Allen, coverage is harder for Mike Williams. So I don't even know who they're...
Talking about Mike Williams, 13 targets, only 6 receptions.
Yeah, it's not great.
That's not good, is it?
So yeah, there's definitely some issues with the Chargers just now. Their defense as well, they look a little bit soft. Philip Lindsay done a couple of plays just straight through the middle of them, and I'm not sure what it is that's wrong with them.
It's losing. I forgot his name. Do you know when a name appears in your head and you're about to start a sentence and it disappears? Like, who's the rookie? Derwin James. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
That seems to be a massive problem. You thought the Chargers were going to struggle losing Weddle when they did a few seasons back.
Yep.
And they kind of got okay for a season or so.
Yep.
But then... What's
James
his name again?
Derwin
James. God almighty, get a brain right. He absolutely filled that spot and just sort of defensive general type thing, playing at the back end. They don't have that this season, which is struggling. This is the thing that they got 35 yards rushing in the game. That's what they got as a team. It's not an individual level. Zero first downs gained through rushing plays.
Wow.
Do you know what? The Broncos, they'll be laughing at that and going like, "Oh, well, this is easy then." We know how this game's going to go, and it probably makes if you're making in-game adjustments as it goes, and you know fine that they can't do ball on the run, then you just like, right, happy days.
Yeah, and I guess from a Broncos point of view, when we've seen them so far this season, they've always been fairly close. They've never been...
Don't think they've really been blown out too much. They've not been terribly exciting.
No.
Strangely, Vic Fangio's not had much out of that defense, which is an
Although in
interesting
this game it was different. They had a couple of interceptions, some really strong tackling. There's one play where Philip Rivers dunks it off to Austin Eckler, and he gets wiped out. I mean, it's a legal tackle, but he gets decimated.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was that done the tackle, but it's a really good, because Eckler basically turns around and goes to start running, but the Broncos defensive player just annihilates him. It's great to watch. But yeah, I guess my point I was going to get to there was the Broncos don't feel like a 1-4 team. They don't feel like that's how bad they are, because I think they're not too far away. I think Joe Flacco still looks a little bit shaky, but their wide receiver core is a little bit weaker as well. Cortland Sutton and Emmanuel Sanders are probably not the best, and I couldn't even tell you who their WR3 is or who their tight end is off the top of my head. So
I had Noah Fant. He picked up.
Noah Fant. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah, he only got one reception at the weekend though for 6 yards. He's not quite. There was always that coin flip over Hawkinson or Fant. Who was going to be? Yeah. It seems an absolute no-brainer at the minute, but it may just be the way they play them in their offenses. Hawkinson is absolutely lighting that one up as a one-sided thing.
So it's both teams.
Chargers regressing.
Both teams could be better. Yeah. Both teams probably won't get much better. And
middle of the pack.
Yeah, I think the Chargers they're not going to challenge the Chiefs they did last year anyway.
A few rumours flying around that Elway may get rid of a few long-standing Broncos, in particular Derek Wolfe, Emmanuel Sanders, Von Miller. That's it's Von Miller.
Yeah. I always just it's hard to picture who makes a move for these type of players, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to have enough faith that pushing out I'm guessing Von Miller's maybe a first rounder and some change.
Yeah.
Wolf maybe a third or a fourth or something like that. Emmanuel Sanders, I'm not sure you get much more than a fifth.
No.
So it would be who would be wanting to trade.
That.
Who thinks that they're that player away from pushing their season further forward?
Yeah.
So it's a.
Do you think someone
I'll give
Falcons who are really struggling and need defensive help might go mental and just try and bring someone in?
See, I think as bad as the Falcons are, I think they are probably going to have to go full rebuild very soon. And I think Dan Quinn might be a candidate to get chopped at the end of the season as well. So why would they want to trust someone that they're not sure of with capital? So I was more thinking maybe Green Bay go aggressive again. I think so.
Can you imagine that? God, the thoughts going through my head. That's mental.
Even if it wasn't Von Miller, even Derek Wolfe for Green Bay.
As a rotational. Do you know what, if you can get him for say you get him for a fourth round.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that's probably really good value just to chuck in the mix there.
Well, that's
because you've got Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith that are causing plenty havoc. They're doing enough damage on the road. But you add a third piece of the wheel into that. That's
what I'm thinking. Maybe someone like Green Bay goes, you know what, we're 4-1 somehow. We're not playing particularly great. So it's our defence that's getting us there. So let's make sure the defence keeps that up and let's go and get someone like a Derek Wolfe who is experienced pro, can add to the.
Let's say defence wins championship.
That's it. So that's I know it might not happen, but they've definitely changed their strategy in Green Bay to be more aggressive with these sort of things. So we'll see.
Well, sticking in Green Bay is a nice wee segue into players. I wasn't going to spend too long talking about him, but who definitely deserves a shout out this week is Aaron Jones and his 4 touchdowns against Dallas. Dallas defense is really good. That should not have happened. So 19 carries, 107 yards and his 4 touchdowns. He also got 7 receptions for 75 yards in that game. That's a solid game. That's amazing. Well, just looking at it, the 4 touchdowns. So there's 5 people that have had 5 in a game, which is obviously kind of the pinnacle, and it's very rare you're likely to get there. There's quite a few that have had 4 touchdowns, something like 32 I think it was when I was looking at it. Obviously Derrick Henry got a 4 touchdown game last December, which was, I don't remember who against, but kind of out of nowhere, and the last time that happened was 2014, so it's been 5 years prior since this has happened, so it is a pretty rare thing. Because kind of more often than not I'd like to champion someone who's maybe less spoken about in general, so unlikely to get me beating the drum about Russell Wilson and the scramble pass as player of the week type thing. I thought I'd chuck Aaron Jones out.
Especially against that defence. It's a good defence, isn't it? So, but credit to Green Bay, this is what I find a little bit weird. So when Matt LaFleur came in, so he comes from the Sean McVay coaching tree. He's not like Sean McVay in the way that he plays. It's again very old school, run first. They're not asking Rodgers to freewheel everything. They're quite conservative in the sense of they're confident in their defence as well. So it's just interesting, these sort of things and how it changes, and that's not what I expected from Green Bay. But I'm glad they're winning, and like I said, if they go and grab someone to maybe help them a little bit more, maybe they could be a Super Bowl contender.
They're not far off at the moment, and I think the way it's shaken out, they're getting lucky. I think their division's possibly not as strong as I thought. I think they've got the benefit of some teams that have issues, and they can probably steamroll that division. And they've already got a win against the Bears and the Vikings in there anyway, so they've already got 1 foot in front. Chances are they'll beat maybe not
Lions.
Beat the Lions actually. The Lions put up more of a fight than I think, but
it's definitely, it's interesting. So we'll wait and see. So we're staying in the NFC North.
We are.
We didn't even plan these segues. They're beautiful.
Love
it. So we're going to Minnesota, and we're going to Adam Thielen, who had 130 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Giants defense. So you know what? Who are not the best. But the thing that sort of stood out to me last week, we were speaking about top receivers. We didn't mention Adam Thielen once, not even slightly.
Yes.
And he's arguably the best.
Who did we forget? It was like we were cursing ourselves.
Michael Thomas was it? We don't talk about that.
Oh dear, that was stupid. But yes, no, you're right. That he doesn't get a lot of love really. He took him several years to get to where he is, and he really kind of exploded.
2 years ago,
two seasons.
Two seasons ago, he sort of came on the scene. Last year he was incredible, and this year, obviously, the Vikings have had a slow start with their Kirk Cousins.
He's been so hit and miss.
Streaky. He's just streaky.
He has a bad game. He only, it's really all about Dalvin Cook at the minute, and he's doing wonders for Minnesota's offense. So the split between running and passing just varies so much week on week.
Last week they were very pass heavy compared to the week before.
But Cousins completed 30 from 36 or something crazy like that. I mean, he had a brilliant game.
So they say that Adam Thielen is one of the safest pair of hands in the league. Slot receivers tend to be, it's a dangerous target, but usually an easy target in terms of his intermediate routes, sort of 10 yards, 15 yards, those sort of things. If you've got someone like Thielen who's can win contested catches, can get into space, why wouldn't you? And if you've got Cook giving you that balance, you just play RPOs all game, and then you should. The Vikings should be better than what they are.
Are they? We'll not spend too much going on about it, but are they? Stephon Diggs, is that causing a problem? Do we think?
I would trade him.
He seems unhappy.
I would trade him.
Something seems not quite right there. And there's a whole rumour that you've had to come out and say, no, we're not discussing trading him, or he's come out and said, no, I'm okay, or there's issues.
I'm not sure what they would get from him. Maybe fourth again.
Because you think as low as that?
Well, because it's in the public, they have no leverage.
Well, right enough, yes.
So the leverage isn't with the Vikings.
If it's all quiet and behind the scenes, you might be able to sneak a low second round.
Yeah, exactly. But because it's not in the favour of the Vikings, the balance goes down to the team trading for, opposed to the team trading away.
I'm seeing the rumour mill of somebody else the Patriots might go and pick up a few days ago.
Maybe, yeah, I think it was.
The one this morning's AJ Green and Tyler Eifert.
Yeah,
my
crazy.
God.
Hopefully not AJ Green. I could see Diggs going. I could see Diggs going to the Patriots. It's different division as well.
Yeah, it's cross conference, which helps.
I would trade him. I think that Thielen's good enough. You've got Kyle Rudolph and probably a whole bunch of rookies from your practice squad that you can say go show that you're just as good. And you're relying on Dalvin Cook anyway, so
so just keep doing what's working well.
So if you can get fourth round for someone that's not really contributing to your team, then it's a no-brainer, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
So
there we go. Right. Okay, so that's our players and our games wrapped up for this week. On to predictions for this week. Now, what we're going to do is I'm gonna at this point pause in the room as we hear from Andrew. Interesting to see how this goes, because I don't actually know what he said, but hopefully he should segue back into us quite easily. We'll find out on post-production later on, and I'll see how stupid I sound at the minute.
Hi guys, I hope the episode's going well. Certainly better than your predictions last week anyway. So the last week's games we had Buccaneers at Saints, Packers at Cowboys, and Browns at 49ers. We all went for the Browns in the last one, and we all got that spectacularly wrong. You two also managed to get the other two games spectacularly wrong as well, and I got them right. So after 4 weeks of predictions, Gav leads the way on 8, Steve on 5, and I've caught up with Steve on 5 as well. This week's games, we're going to go Redskins at Dolphins first. Obviously, this is the battle of two horrendous teams. Redskins have obviously changed their head coach this week as well. I don't think that'll have a huge effect, and I think the Dolphins will come away with the win in that one. Next game we're going to have a look at will be the 49ers at the Rams. This is really interesting because obviously coming into the season, the Rams were the hot favourite for that division. If anything, I think they're now third place, probably there. Seahawks look brilliant, but I think the 49ers will come away with a win in that one. And then another sort of questionable quality game, the Titans at the Broncos. Broncos off a decent result this week though, and I think that they'll follow that up with another win there. So let's hear what you guys think.
So hopefully that's all worked out splendid. As I say, we'll find out later. Splendid.
What?
So, games this week then. Titans at Broncos.
That is a tough one, isn't it?
These are stinky ones. So the 3 games, this gives you more time to think about it, and I can fill some time. We've got Titans at Broncos. We've got 49ers at the Rams. And then the Tank Bowl, as we said earlier, Redskins at the Dolphins. Now, games that I reckon at the beginning of the season you could have called the winner, no questions asked. But the way the teams are playing, it's absolute coin tosses in all of these, so there is no real wrong answer. Well, technically there is. One team will win and one team will lose, but...
Okay, I'm going to go Titans. Titans win because I think that they had the tough game against the Bills, which was 14-7. This will be another tough game, but I think that Mariotta's playing well enough, and I think Derrick Henry has been pretty consistent this season compared to most.
The one season I don't pick him up in fantasy, after about 4 years of giving him a chance, and he only shows up in December, but this year he's decided, no, Steve's not got him in his fantasy team, I'm going to actually start playing from the beginning of the season.
So yeah, I'm going to say Titans win this in a close game, so less than 7 points.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the counter argument. Look, to be fair, we don't know what Andrew's picked, which is interesting. So he may have already gone with the Broncos anyway. But I'm trying to see if I can come up with a counter for, and I'm not really sure I can.
That's how
I kind of said earlier that really the kind of wide receiver core thing is where they're struggling a bit.
And the Titans' defense is pretty good.
Yeah, and should be able to shut that down really quickly, which means it's all on Philip Lindsay. And I don't think against that front seven and the Titans, he's going to be able to do a whole lot. They're going to have to bust out some pretty crazy big holes to try and get anything from them. So I think on that front, I wouldn't be surprised
for the Titans, isn't he?
Yes.
So last week was his first game back, I'm sure.
Was it week 5? Oh yeah, we're going to week 6. Yeah. So he played last week.
He'll have a bit more,
and they were much better.
Yeah.
They still took a few sacks, but not.
So he'll get better as the more he gets into it. So
so you've got that benefiting from you as well. You've got Derrick Henry doing all right. The wide receiver core is helping Mariota quite a lot.
I think it's AJ Brown.
AJ Brown's having a sneaky good season. So Humphreys obviously you've got there who should help as well. I think it's just a little bit on the Titans side. I think I'm going to agree with you on that one. I would not be surprised though.
Yeah, it's going to be a tight game.
It is. Yeah. So
let's go the Broncos that I heard. Brandon McManus, the kicker, has now made 30 out of 30 kicks in a row within 50 yards.
30 of 30.
He's only missed out with 50 yards. 30 out of 30 within 50 yards.
That is a stat. Yep. If you were to go, name me a couple of kickers out of the league, he would not be there, would you?
No.
You go Justin Tucker straight off the bat.
Greg Delaney.
Greg Delaney. You go for more than nicknames, or the ones that have had a little bit of extra. Robbie Gould when he was balling. I don't know if he still is.
I think he's still pretty good for the 49ers. But 30 out of 30 from within 50 yards.
Wow. That's what you want. That's total decent. How many games? How many kickers have been shipped out already this season?
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? How many games have they cost them?
And I think if you're kicking from 54 yards, you've got in your variables that this is a difficult kick that we might miss. That's not you're not 25 yards going, we can't miss this.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was a fun stat that I've seen.
Yep. Cool, right, on to 49ers at the Rams. So I think I'll jump in first and we'll see whether you agree with this or not. I'm going to go all in, and I'm going to say the 49ers are going to continue their unbeaten streak. Kind of looking back to how, when we're talking about the games and about how they dismantled the Browns, I think they're going to try and do the exact same thing against the Rams. Now, I don't know why, but not having Sue in that middle just seems to make them a little bit softer.
Yep.
But that's because people can triple team Aaron Donald and completely take him out of the game.
Yep.
Some of the plays that I've seen him up against O-lines, it's horrible. It's right, no one else in this defense can really cause us any havoc. Dante Fowler, you're a whiffed third overall pick. We might give you a sack, but whatever, you can't really do much. Who's on the other side? Oh, we don't know. Right, let's just take Donald out. Job done. And that's how you win against that. I mean, they're carrying back and they've got Peters and Talib. So, but then if you're massive front heavy, that ain't going to help you.
Yeah.
Do you know it's all about the front seven?
Yep.
So I think they might cause enough havoc.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
Breida, Mostart, and who's the other
See,
one? Coleman.
Yeah.
Actually, who's been sneaky quite good for them. I think they might cause enough yards on the ground. Again, win time of possession. Jimmy G then doesn't have to do anything stupid. It's set up for them to win like that.
I think I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I love Sean McVay so much that I'm trying to argue it. So, okay, what I'm going to say is...
How does McVay beat that front seven?
You have to start quick.
Yep.
You have to start very quick. You probably have to get the first touchdown and put a little bit of pressure under Jimmy G. Because I think
we're going for a wee bit of luck. A Cooper Cup 79 yarder on
some
the first play.
Brandon Cooks, you know what?
Yeah.
Let Brandon Cooks go deep.
Go mental.
Sherman
not able to freeze him out?
I don't know if he would...
Do you think?
I don't know if Sherman's a lockdown...
Yeah.
I don't think he is anymore.
I think they play more zone anyway rather than man on man.
So, okay, that's what I'm going to go for. The Rams play really aggressive to start with on offense, and they don't give the pass rush enough time to get to Jared Goff. They get the ball out of his hands really quickly.
Yep.
Gain the yards, get the scores on the board, and then put Jimmy G under pressure to make plays back the way.
Through the air,
Yes.
where their defense, i.e. back four, will cause enough havoc
Yeah,
to...
and,
okay,
and
I see it.
even then, the 49ers wide receiver core aren't that great, right?
No. You've got exception being Kittle.
Yeah, Kittle's great, right?
Standout.
The
Yeah.
actual wide receivers.
Yeah.
You know,
Sorry, I did. Yeah, tight end. Right, I know what you mean.
but yeah, so that's how the Rams can win it, and then once they're ahead, they can start to let Gurley play a bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to say the Rams win a really close game again, but that's how they're going to do it. But what you've said, I can totally agree with as well. Like that's a very difficult one to pick.
2 seconds. Nick Bosa, surprisingly a lot better than I gave him credit for. I think if Vandrew was here, he'd be like, "Oh, I'm surprised he's not injured by now."
Yeah, I think that's maybe more down to the pieces round about him as well, though.
Are helping him.
You can't cover all these
you've got
guys.
in the middle Eric Armstead, Solomon Thomas, DeForest Buckner, who has really played up to this draft. He's done brilliantly for.
Yeah, all four of those guys are
causing havoc.
Yep.
Quan Alexander, I think, really helped shore up the linebacker core.
Yep.
Yeah, they're kind of doing quite good. Right, let's go with that then.
Do we have to talk about the next game?
Well, yeah, let's make it quick then. So we've got the Tank Bowl, as it's going to be called.
The first 0-0 in American football.
The 0-0 tie. No, it can't be 0-0. Both defenses' back ends are horrible.
But both offenses on both teams are also horrible.
True, yes, there is that, but you'd think...
The Redskins don't know who the starting quarterback is again.
No, well, that's a big problem. And that's annoyingly, I think, the defining factor. So, as I was sort of alluded to earlier on, I think if you told me this on week one, I'd be like, or even after the first or second game, the Dolphins were just an absolute shambles, I would have been like, oh, Redskins are walking into this and taking the win, no questions asked. I actually think the Dolphins might do it. Now, they're at home, which gives them a small advantage, I suppose. Although, did you see the thing about the game tickets are going so cheap because nobody wants to go? They're struggling to sell them. They're selling them for $16 to go and watch the Dolphins at home. That's actually cheaper than a day ticket into the Miami Zoo.
Wow,
that's amazing. If I was in Florida, I'd be chucking my $16 and going, yeah, I'm going to go and see what's going on here, just for a fun day out. Yeah, I think so. Rosen's okay.
Yep. Don't think he's the problem.
No, I think he's really unlucky with the situation he's got into.
Crap offensive line.
It is the game where Brian Flores can then come out at the back and go, "I told you we're not tanking." You know what I mean? I told you we're out to win every single game. I think he might really G up his players enough to get them through it. And then it doesn't matter what he does, he can then for the rest of the season go, right, now we'll just sit back and let the first overall pick fall to us in the hope that Redskins pick up something between now and the end of the season. But at the moment, I think the Dolphins are slightly in favour.
Okay. Here. I'm going to go Redskins, and I'm going to...
You're back in your team.
Yeah. I've no idea how we're going to do it.
Love it. Yes, you know I'm going to back my team. I have no idea how.
So what I'm thinking is, right, the Dolphins front is pretty crap. Offensive line, sorry. I think our route to victory is going to be through Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Ryan Kerrigan, those players.
Put a good pass rush in and disrupt the
Yes.
Dolphins' offence too much that they can't really get anything going.
Maybe Landry Collins needs to be a little bit more aggressive, get him in the box blitzing a little bit, because he was pretty good at doing that for the Giants.
Yeah.
So maybe play really aggressively against the Dolphins. Christ knows who's going to be at quarterback. Maybe we play Wildcat all game.
Direct snap to Adrian Peterson, who's like, "What's going on here? I'm normally a healthy scratch."
I'm going to say that somehow we're 30th for defensive takeaways, and we're 30th for offensive scoring.
Which is not the bottom, so you've got two teams worse than you, so therefore...
One of them is the Dolphins.
I was going to say, if it happens to be the Dolphins, statistics are slightly in your favour.
It's bad, isn't it?
Oh,
we still have good players, we just can't get it together. So anyway...
But maybe the new regime will help that, if there was a problem with Jay Gruden, and it doesn't really matter now what comes out the woodwork.
Sometimes you get this bounce as well, though, when a head coach is gone, and you get a...
Who was the tight end that came in? Dan
Campbell. Dan Campbell.
He came in Miami, interim after, was it Joe Philbin got the out? Was that the whole culture problem?
Yep.
And he came in, big hulking 6'6"
Toughed
tight end, and they had a couple of games bounce, and it slowly trickled off, which didn't really matter. But you're right, they had that whole change. Somebody new coming in, everyone was a bit more G'd up, and just for some reason they play a bit better.
And like I said earlier, Bill Callahan, offensive line coach, you know what he's going to ask them to do. He's going to ask them to run the ball through Adrian Peterson, and I think...
And Chris Thompson, he should be okay as a switchback.
I think we suffer from... So we looked at not as bad when Darius Geis was healthy.
Yeah.
We miss his sort of... what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not electricity, but his ability to have a big play.
Yes.
We don't have that just now. So, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to run the ball. The defensive front is going to attack Josh Rosen, and that's how we're going to win 3-0.
Oh, can you imagine it? Jeez. We could be speaking about this game next week for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Right, so that's how we've gone. And that's pretty much us for this week then. So before I sign out, Gav, any last words, thoughts?
No.
Nope. Went totally dead there for a second. The phone took over. You'll get us at the AFcast on Twitter, American Fitbaw Cast on Facebook, Gav's other podcast, Pure Football.
Yep.
Please check that out as well. Finally, to close out our episode this week, we've got something a little bit different. We've got a friend of ours, Cheyne, who was at the Raiders-Bears game in London at the weekend, so he's recorded some thoughts for us about the game itself, but also about the stadium experience, because obviously it was the first game at Tottenham Stadium, and how that's different, because he's been at Wembley before, so actually he's got that nice unique perspective on what's better between the two, and he also has a wee bit of a cheeky shout out about how he thinks that the West Ham Stadium could actually be a better venue.
Cool.
So that's something different there to listen to, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye bye.
It is 6:16 on the Saturday morning. Well, it's a tough morning. It's going to be a long day. So we'll see how it goes. So we made it off the plane. Everything's fine. We're in London. Fucking knackered. And we're heading to the West Ham game where they're playing Crystal Palace. And I've been saying to Craig here that it actually might be a pretty good area for like NFL games, because there's not much else happening around here. But so we'll let you know how it goes after that. So it's the day after the West Ham game. I think it should have been a draw. Both teams were kind of like good in places and bad in the other. But there was a VAR decision at the end of the game which gave Crystal Palace the lead. But it made me think that the NFL know how to do VAR stuff properly. They let you hear the referee, they show you what the referee's looking at, and so nobody or not everybody in the stadium gets really annoyed at it, and they kind of look at it until they call, and then they get annoyed. But there was just, everyone was just booing because it was just taking so long and they didn't know what was happening. So they need to take a leaf at the NFL's book in that respect. As far as the stadium goes, the inside as well would be really good for NFL. It would be the right shape. The outside as well, there's loads of space for it. So I think the NFL should definitely look at having a game there as well. So today is the next day. It's actual game day. We're going to go to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and see what that's about, see what that's like, and I'll let you know what it feels like after the game there. Right, bye. Fuck's sake. Right, so it's the day after game day. I finally got home back to Perth from London, and this is me trying to remember the bits and bobs of the day to kind of give you your feedback. From the start of the journey, we were staying in Finsbury Park, and we were in a hotel there, and we got a bus from there down, basically straight down to the stadium. Straight line. It only maybe made like a slight turn onto another long road, and it just went all the way down. There was a lot of NFL fans on it, but it got to the point where there were so many fans going towards the stadium that we were stopping so many times that people were just walking along the street going faster than us. So I don't know if we'll be doing that again. Then when we got off the bus, we got into the NFL area, and you're expecting like lots of like cool things to see, blow up kind of statues and stuff and signs and all the other like fun things. And there was like the odd thing, but it wasn't amazing. It was quite, I didn't feel like there was that much space to do anything. We ended up getting to the stadium pretty quick once we had a wee like look around for all the different, because we tend to play this game where you try to spot every single fan, and we got it down to I think Titans and Texans. Texans was like the hardest one to find for some reason. There was loads of Bears fans. There was still Raiders fans, but there was loads of Bears fans. So the outside of Tottenham Stadium's fine. It's easy to get into. Security is getting surprisingly like lazy. Wembley's security is much more stricter than Tottenham's one was. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, really. I mean, it's easier to get into the stadium. So when you actually get into the actual stadium, there's lots of kiosks and food stalls and beer stalls, and there's so many staff, it's unreal, and it's really nicely laid out. It looks really good, and there's like a long, like after you've walked up the steps to get into the stadium, you then kind of go down some steps to get into the food area, so everyone was sitting on the steps along there. That was pretty cool. And there was so many food areas. Like, they don't want to have queues, they just wanted to have people come in, get a food and drink, and then leave. So we were trying to find our seats. First of all, we couldn't even find the way that we were meant to go, like the corridor we were meant to walk through to get to the stadium. It was kind of badly signed on the first level, but when you got up to the second level, everything was like really easy to find, which was kind of frustrating considering it's a new stadium. They would make it a lot easier. The seats itself for the stadium were good. They weren't fantastic. They're a bit too small for the husky NFL fan. I don't know like what you guys think the average NFL fan size is, but I don't think Tottenham got that right. And there's like 4 screens as well, one in each corner, which is great if you're looking, if you miss a play or something, you've got 4 corners to look at, so you've always got a good angle of whatever play you've missed. So the first half, I'm not actually going to get into any plays or any nitty gritty of falls or anything like that. 1, because I can't remember, and 2, that's your job. I'm just here to tell you how I enjoyed it. But I will talk about how in the first half the Raiders looked like good. They started off quick. There wasn't any issues. They were fine. No issues there. Bears just didn't look like they were toothless. They had nothing going for them. The Vikings had been beat the week before by them, and I was like, oh my god, it was a trouncing. We got sacked so many times. We looked ridiculous. The Bears, they had nothing. Nothing. Their first half performance was really disappointing. Where am I going now? We'll talk about the fans. So the fans are all there, but because there's so many kiosks and so many drinks things, you're going, oh, I'll just go get a beer from the fucking 1,000 kiosks that they've got there. And there was one person beside Craig who went down, and the person beside me went down, and then they weren't seen for like half an hour. One person went down just at the half time, didn't come up until the halftime show had finished, and they were about 10 minutes into the third quarter. They just disappeared. But the people that were sitting in front of us were going down basically every 10-15 minutes and coming up with beers. So I don't know what's going on, but either everyone's going to the one kiosk and some people are just going all the way down to the bottom ones on the bottom floor and picking them up. It was a shame because they missed a hell of a lot of the actual game. I don't know if there's anything that Tottenham can do about that. So the second half had a laser show, and it wasn't particularly exciting. The stadiums looked really good during the actual performance. I don't know who the person was that was singing, can't remember, it doesn't matter. But the funniest thing about it was during the performance there was signs everywhere specifically saying, don't go onto the pitch. There's nobody allowed on the pitch and there's nobody allowed on the roof because it uses class 4 lasers. And it's dangerous if you do that. Don't do it. So nobody was on the pitch while the laser show was on, except for one of the play callers, the coordinators that are up in the TV seats at the top, ready to call the plays to the folk that were on the field. One of them just came down and ran right across the centre of the field as all this laser stuff is going. And I'm shouting, "You're gonna die! Dodge the lasers!" I'm shouting that. Finally gets to the edge, and whoever it is telling him, get off the pitch. He's like standing there, and everybody's not paying attention to the show anymore. They're all watching this poor lad just get berated by some events coordinator. Then after that, second half started, and from what I can remember, Raiders had an atrocious third quarter. The quarterback got rattled, got done for a delay of game. He just kept arguing with the referees for absolutely no reason. And he had a stinker. Bears got back into it. Don't know how. Raiders had the worst luck ever for a second half I've ever seen. They just couldn't get a break. And then it was the last quarter when finally they got their act together. Basically ended the game with an interception. The guy got so excited after he intercepted the ball, he just started running. It's like, what the fuck are you running for? Just go down, delay the time, delay it. And got that out of the way, and all the Bears fans, and the stadium was filled with Bears fans, were gutted. And there's like tiny pockets of Raider fans that were all really happy. Getting home was quicker than Wembley, but still not the best when you're in like a really tight suburban. Is it suburban or is it like a street area type district? There wasn't that many big spaces that you could just go, okay, game over, let's fuck off, see you later. They kind of made us bottleneck towards 2 different stations, and then as you were walking along, they just started ushering you into this path to go down into the station, but they didn't tell you if you didn't want to go into the station, you best not get corralled into this fence. So we just stopped, turned back round, and avoided it, as all these people were getting trapped in it for no reason. I think that's it. The game was actually really good. I have no idea how the Raiders won. I don't think they should have won. I think maybe the Bears should have just won, but it was close. It was very close, but it was surprising. It was one of the funnest games I've been to, as a, I suppose, casual. But my favourite game that I've been to is the one where I saw Minnesota play for the first time. But this one was good. But there you go. I think I'm rambling now. I've rambled long enough, and that's that. So, would I recommend Tottenham get more NFL games? I still think West Ham might actually be better. But it was nice. I got to see a really nice looking stadium. So there we go. Right, thanks.
You've been listening to another great podcast from the Fair City Podcast Network, a group dedicated to connecting and developing podcasts. Check out fcpod.net for more great podcasts and content.